guys, it's Kristen, and today we're talking about episode 6 of the Charmed reboot. So in this episode, we are following two different storylines. We have Maggie and Mel, who are trying to rid Kappa House of a ghost, and we also have Macy, who is trying to learn more about what's going on with Galvin's mark and why she's the only one that can see it. So starting off with the Kappa ghost, we see that Lucy is very upset still over the whole situation with Maggie kissing her boyfriend, and she needs to de-stress. So in a moment of self-care, she lights this candle that inadvertently unleashes this Kappa ghost named Brenda. Maggie and Mel do some digging and learn that she is a former Kappa pledge who was drunk off too many wine coolers and fell off the roof of Kappa House to her death. They end up using a spell to call a restless spirit to find out why Brenda is still there. That sends them back to the 80s on Hilltown's campus, and there they learn a lot of information that is definitely going to be important in the upcoming episodes. The first being that Brenda was kicked out of Kappa by her former friend, and the second is we actually get to see Marisol, their mom, again. At the time that we see Marisol, she's pregnant with Macy, but she is really worried that something is wrong with the baby. When Mel and Maggie return to present time, they go and seek out Brenda's former friend, who was a Kappa president, just to get more information, and they learn that Brenda was a huge bully, she was a terrible friend, and she even slept with several of her sorority sisters' boyfriends. They also uncover this huge secret that Brenda's ghost has led several other Kappa sisters to die in the same exact way that she did, in a form of revenge. And it looks like Lucy is next. There's actually this really cool parallel going on here, because this whole time we've kind of been feeling bad for Maggie that she's kicked out of Kappa, just like we feel bad for Brenda, until we learn the truth. And once we find that out, it kind of opens Maggie's eyes up to realizing that she's been acting like a victim this whole time when she was the one that made the mistake. She ends up realizing that she just needs to apologize to Lucy and give her some time and space to get over it, and maybe one day they could be friends again. And in doing that, she ends up taking away some of Lucy's rage, which then defeats Brenda. And the way that Brenda disappeared was actually pretty cool. They did like an 80s video effect on her. Getting into Macy's storyline for this week, we learn that Galvin's mark is actually a Haitian protection symbol, and it's supposed to keep him safe. Macy ends up going to a Yoruba Haitian practitioner to see if she can learn more about this mark and why she's the only one who can see it. The practitioner says it's because Macy's really different from her sisters. She has the Ebi in her, which is a darkness that has been in her since she was born, and that the pillar to her past holds the key to her darkness. Macy is understandably pretty freaked out, but when she gets home, she notices that one of the pillars of the porch has something on it, so she uses her magic to open it up, and she finds this box that has a pentagram key in it. So what does that key lead to? Does Macy really have a darkness in her? Is she part demon? Is that what Marisol was so worried about back in the 80s when she thought that there was something wrong with the baby? My thought is that maybe Marisol found a way to take the darkness in Macy and lock it up somewhere, and this key leads to it. But in finding that key, maybe Macy is going to unleash it somehow. I think that could actually be a really cool episode, because Macy so far is the very cool, calm, logical sister, and it would be interesting to see her kind of turn to the bad side for a little bit, sort of how, like in the OG Charmed, Phoebe was always the one that was a little bit more susceptible to evil. Additionally, we see Alistairs' shape-shifting son in the Hilltown labs, and he ends up killing the head of the department and stealing one of the vials of Macy's blood. I'm curious about what he's going to do with that, and also, will it have a different effect now that we've learned that Macy has a darker side? We also got the sweetest sisterhood moment at the end of this episode that I just truly loved. Because Maggie is unable to rush Kappa anymore, her sisters decide that they are going to initiate her into the Vera Vaughn sisterhood.
You are ready to be inducted into the most magical sisterhood around.
Even Harry gets to be an honorary sister, and it was just really nice to see them bonding in that way. Those are some of my favorite moments of the show. And speaking of favorite, I have to say I think this may be one of my favorite episodes of the season so far. I really like that we are starting to get a little bit into more of a Demon of the Week format. This episode we got to meet this evil ghost. It looks like next week there's another random demon that comes into the picture, and that was kind of the format of the original Charmed, at least for the first 2 seasons, where it was like this Demon of the Week format. Each week was a a new demon that they were defeating, and they were learning more about their powers, and eventually later on they got more into an overarching storyline with the source of all evil. But I hope we get a little bit more of that format, because I love when we get to meet all the different supernatural creatures and demons, and whether they're friends or foes. I think that's a lot of fun. I also enjoyed seeing Mikaela Miller playing Brenda. You know, she was on a few episodes of Faking It back in the day, and the showrunner and some of the writers from Faking It work on this show as well, so it felt like there was a little connection there. And I wonder if we'll see any other connections like that in the future. I also thought this episode was just really solid in terms of moving the storyline forward. You know, we got to learn some really interesting things about Macy that are going to be definitely coming up in future episodes, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. And also just, again, the sisterhood moments were really great in this episode, so I loved that. I'd love to know what you guys thought about this new episode of Charmed. What about Macy possibly turning to the dark side in the future? Leave a comment down below and let me know. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and click that subscribe button because I come out with new videos every week. See ya!